didn't have to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne. You'll never know till it's over. So pretty it hurts. Just beware.
Hello YouTube. I was going to do a different video, but then I remembered somebody asked me to do one about my experiences with the Parole board, so that's what I'm going to do. So if you're new, like prison content, subscribe, share, like, all that. Let's get into it. It was 2001 before I had my first parole hearing. You know, I got arrested in 1987. First parole hearing came in 2001. I didn't expect to get paroled. I didn't expect to get a date. But you always go up to these parole hearings hoping for the best and expecting the worst. That's what we always say. I have seen one person that I know of get a date on his first life sentence. You know, on his life sentence, the first time he went up, I see him get a date. But that's very rare. And I think some fishy stuff was going on there anyway.
Some strings being pulled behind the scenes.
But anyway, I went up and I was in Potosi when this happened. And I guess it was kind of bad anyway, because I went to Potosi for number 3. If you're in Potosi, you're either on have capital punishment, or you're there because you got in trouble, you had a major violation. There was 3 people. One just observed, and I think he had a camera. One talked to me nicely, asked me about my plans and all this and that. And the other one talked to me bad. It was a woman. I found out later she was new to the Department of Corrections and didn't really know about how things went. She asked me, she goes, when the first part of your sentence, you were in a lot of fights. And I told her that was for a couple of reasons. I said, one, I was at Missouri State Penitentiary, which is very violent. And 2, in most cases, not all, I was defending myself. And she just snapped. She went off. She goes, I'm tired of all you guys who've done a lot of time saying this stuff. You know, it doesn't happen. And I think she was just trying to get under my skin. I don't know. And maybe she really believed that this stuff didn't happen. But people told me after the parole hearing that you'll have one that talks good to you and one that talks bad. You know, good guy, bad guy type of thing. My second parole hearing was in 2006. It was, you know, I got a 5-year setback, and 2006 was my next one. I was in South Central Correctional Center, and I'd been there for 3 years. And in the first one, the second one, the first one, all 3 siblings of the person that I did in came up, and you know, I don't blame them. You know, I really don't. A lot of people say, well, you know, they're sticking up for a child abuser and stuff. That was a family, you know, and they didn't believe that about him. And so anyway, second one I didn't really have nobody talking bad to me, you know, but they did ask some hard questions. You know, first I had to tell the story of, recount what happened, you know, and they really wasn't going for that, you know. They went by what the prosecutor said. Anyway, that one, I got a 3-year setback, was it? Yeah, a 3-year setback. And so the next one was 2009. Yeah. 2009 I went up. Kevin had just got to South Central Correctional Center from Bowling Green. That's where I'd come from too. And that was he, you know, he was glad to see me go up because he was going up too, but he kept getting 5-year setbacks. But he was wanting me not to get my hopes up, you know. Which, like I told you, you hope for the best, but you expect the worst. And I guess I can't say it was bad, but it wasn't good, you know. They gave me a 2-year setback. Go back up to 2011. And I wish I did. And that was pretty much a repeat of all the others, you know. Except for the first one. Like I said, the first one, that woman got mad, angry at me. By now, I had the IPO, the institutional parole officer. I can't remember his name. I wish I could, because he was rooting for me, and I'll never forget him. And so it was just a repeat. So, and my brother was there, and he came up to represent me that time, and spoke really well, considering, you know, he's not one to really speak a whole lot. Where's that fly coming from? But anyway, he's not one to speak a whole lot. And so I was very impressed by him. You know, he had a lot to say, and he said it, you know, and he said it articulately and concisely, and I mean, it's almost like he rehearsed it, which he probably did. But to be honest with you, I'm just being honest. But he wasn't lying to him. Everything that he told him was true, and everything he said that about, you know, helping me when I got out and everything was true. You know, he meant that. So the next one, I went up, and the victim's family didn't show up. None of them did. By now, it was only one person showing up anyway, and but they had sent some letters. And after the pro hearing, the IPO called me in there. Oh, the one before that, the one I just got through talking about, she made up lies at the pro hearing. Now, you know, I don't care. Say what you want. But don't lie to try to keep somebody in prison. You know, I'll tell you, there's a number of reasons why. For one, the pro board knew that she was lying, and they told me that afterwards. I mean, me and my brother just looked at one another like in disbelief, like, where's this even coming from? And so afterwards, the IPO told me, he said, she's lying, and I know she's lying. He goes, I understand her pain. She wants to keep you in prison, and she's doing whatever she can to keep you in prison, but she shouldn't be lying like that. You know, it's just obvious that she's lying. You know, number one, why didn't she mention any of this stuff before? You know, like in the first pro hearings and stuff. Anyway, so I'm on my 5th one in 2013, and my brother was there, and, you know, he said the same, pretty much the same thing again. I said the same thing again. the pro board said the same thing again. And the IPO who was there, he was like, you know, you see it, we're going through this again, you know. Afterwards, he talked to me again. Oh, and there was a CO that came up to me, and before the pro hearing, and he goes, I want to write a letter on your behalf. And I said, all right. So he went and he talked to some white shirt, like a lieutenant or captain, major or something, and they told him he could not write it in the prison. He had to do it on his own time, and so I guess he did, because the pro board mentioned that. And so I'm very appreciative of C.O. Bolin. That was his name. And shout out to him. Sorry I didn't talk to you a whole lot, but you know how it is. If you're watching, I just can't hang around talking to people, you know. But I appreciate what you did. I want that to be known. And he did it on the very last one. Now, on the very last one, something had come up, and you know, my parents had already passed away, but something had come up and my brother couldn't make it. So I'm thinking, oh man, you know. So I go up there. Check your phone here. I go up there, and when I go up there, Kevin is telling me, I told him I had a good feeling about this. And Kevin says, you know, hope for the best, expect the worst, you know, that kind of thing. He goes, I don't want you to get your hopes way up. I said, well, even though, see, at the time I didn't know that Chris, my brother, wasn't going to be able to make it until almost like at the very last minute. And so I get up there. There's nobody there except for the pro board, the 3 people on the pro board. And well, that fly keeps bothering me. But and the IPO said, if you'll notice, there's nobody here. He had already told me that in the last pro hearing, that as long as they keep coming, that my chances of getting out are slim. You know, life sentence. You know, they don't have to let you go. But he was smiling. He said, you can see there's nobody here. And I said, yeah, not even my family, you know. He goes, it's all right, you know. And I thought I was going to have to recount what I went through and everything, you know, the events leading up to it. He said, we've heard that several times already. You don't need to recount that. We're not hearing from the other side. You ain't got no family here. Is there anything you'd like to tell us? Anything you'd like to ask or tell us? I think I asked a couple questions like, you know, stipulations and stuff like that, you know. And the whole thing was 5 minutes. Usually they're 20, 30 minutes for me. The whole thing was like maybe 5 minutes. They all shook my hands. They was all smiling. And I just left with a good feeling. I go back to the housing unit and I tell Kevin, I said, because he was my cellie, I said I have a real good feeling about this, Kevin. And he said, Harv, man, don't do this to yourself, man. Don't, man. You've seen people destroyed by this. And I said, I know, but I said, I can't help it. Now the answers come 2 to 8 weeks later or something like that, they say. And they usually mail them to you. When they pass out mail, that's when you get the answer. Back when they had paper mail. I don't know how they do it nowadays. I don't know if you get it on your tablet or what. But anyway, one day, lockdown is at 11 o'clock, and one day they called lockdown. I hadn't no more than closed the door. Then they popped it again, and they said, Seidel, report to the caseworker's office. I report to the caseworker's office, and the caseworker's in his office. The IPO, Institution Parole Officer, is standing there in the doorway with his paper. He goes, this is fresh off the press, and I wanted to deliver it to you personally. And I looked at it, and it said, it's like surreal, you know, I couldn't believe it. It said, you have been scheduled for release from confinement on November 18th, 2016. This was in like June of 2015. I had like 16 more months to go. And he goes, will that work? I said, I'm speechless, you know. I don't know what to say. And he goes, well, I say you need to get back to your cell because it's about count time. And him and the caseworker was just, they were laughing and smiling. So I ran back and I told Kevin. And Kevin was happy, you know, of course. He told me that I was out in the yard 2 weeks and then they locked me up because I was a level 1 on a level 5 yard, you know, and they said that couldn't happen. But when they told me to pack my stuff, he told me, well, first he thought it was a bunch of BS that I'm being put in a hole for my own safety. And I've been on that yard 12 years, you know. And basically it was the prison protecting their own butts, you know. In case something happened to me, they was afraid there'd be a lawsuit. But Kevin told me, he says, I'm glad to see you leaving, but I hate to see you leave. Does that make sense? And I said, yeah, it makes perfect sense. He goes, you come back, I'm going to beat your butt. You know, he says, don't come back. And but I told this story before on Quora, I think, and I'm not sure if I told it here or not, but there was a guy on the yard that really didn't like me. And to be honest, I wasn't, the feeling was kind of mutual. And I only, because everybody, when they see me come back from the caseworker's office, everybody was curious, man, what did they call you out there for, man? They're trying to get you to rat or something, you know? So I told them. I couldn't say, hey, it was nothing, you know. They're wanting to know. So I told them. And so it was like a day or so, and it was all over the prison, you know, guards and prisoners, everybody knew about it. Square cooks, recreation workers, everybody knew. People I didn't even know knew. And but I'm out in the yard with my workout partners, and we're not even working out. We're just standing around talking and kind of making laps, you know, because you can't really. If there's a bunch of you in a group, they don't like you standing, you know, they want you to keep moving. So I see this other group, and I see the guy in there that doesn't really like me. And he breaks off from the group and starts heading for me, and I'm thinking, oh man, no. So I start walking to meet him. I'm thinking, man, this is just my luck. Really? And this guy had shades on, you know, and he walks up to me. We meet about halfway, and he stares at me a minute. Takes his shades off and stares at me some more. And he said, man, he says, I don't really like you. I don't care if you like me or not. You know, I just don't like you. But he said, we've done a lot of time together, different camps. And he says, just because I don't like you doesn't mean I don't respect you. Never had anybody tell me that before. Like that, you know, it's kind of odd. He says, I'm glad you got a date, man. He said, get out and don't come back. He holds up his fist for a fist bump. Give him a fist bump. He puts his shades on, turns around and walks away. I mean, I was just standing there relieved, you know, for a number of reasons. Not sure if I could have handled him, you know. If we got into it, I'm not sure how good it would have been for me. And two, I didn't want anything messing with my date, you know. But that's, I can't remember who asked me to do the parole hearing, my experiences with the parole hearing, but that was my experiences with the parole hearing. And I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into how it works in Missouri. And I'll see y'all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.